Go ahead. Hello, everybody.
Hi, my name's Kathy Scusa. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Advocacy Specialist podcast, A Moment with NCDHH. We are the advocacy specialists for the Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. And I'll give you a little bit of information on where we work. First of all, we have 6 advocacy specialist positions in the state of Nebraska. The first one is in Scottsbluff. They handle 11 counties. North Platte office handles 25 counties. Kearney office handles 16 counties. We have 2 offices or 2 advocacy specialists from the Omaha office, and the Northern Omaha office covers 12 counties. The Southern Advocacy Specialist also handles 12 counties. And finally, our headquarter office in Lincoln, Nebraska covers 17 counties. So we all cover a pretty big area. We're going to talk to you just a little bit about, we want to let you get to know us better. And so today we want to talk about our path to Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, how we came to be here. And first up, we're going to start with Dylan Curran. Dylan works out of our Omaha office. In November, on November 12th, he will celebrate his 1-year anniversary with us. So go ahead, Dylan, tell us how you came to be with the Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. Thank you.
Well, hello, my name is Dylan. First off, and the most important part of the story, is I was born and raised here in the Omaha area. Behind me, I'm in my family home. You can see my family home behind me, so I've always had Nebraska in me. I attended the Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT, a small deaf college, which is located in Rochester, New York. I studied criminal justice and got a bachelor's and a master's while my attendance there at school. So interested in things related to law enforcement with deaf people, and just thought, I want to be involved and spread my goals and my knowledge with the deaf community so that they can understand their needs and be advocates for them. Well, just so happened, I don't know, maybe 3 months after graduation, Cody reached out to me and said, "Hey, we've got a position opening up here in Nebraska at the commission. Were you interested?" So I thought about it, and I knew that Cody, before I started working here, we knew each other, and his goal is try to bring back leaders to Nebraska. So he asked me, and I thought, well, we'll see how it goes. Went ahead and applied, interviewed. I saw the team and their goals and their missions, and it was a perfect fit. I thought it was a perfect fit for me to get back to the community here in Nebraska. So got the job, and here I am. So I'm here to give back to our community.
That's awesome. Great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. Nice to get a little bit of background on everybody. So you being our newest member with the Nebraska Commission, we're happy to have you here, and thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead with our least senior to our most senior. So the next one that joined our team prior to you was Cody. Cody McAvoy also works in the Omaha office. And on December 3rd, he will have been with the commission for 2 years. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Cody.
Great. Hello, my name is Cody. This is my name sign, Cody. My story is similar to Dylan's. I am an Omaha native, born and raised here in good old Nebraska. As a youth growing up, I wanted to get out of here, seek the world. So I went to RIT, same college as what Dylan went to, and ended up at the American School for the Deaf in Connecticut, which is the first school for the deaf that opened up in the United States. My passion was really to be involved with community and the community mental health field. I've always wanted to get back home. I spent 8 years away from Nebraska, and an opportunity arose here at the Commission for the Deaf, and it was my biggest passion is to come back and help the deaf community. Some states and communities that have a lot of supports and resources in place, and I felt like I wanted to get that going here in Nebraska and contribute to Nebraska, to make Nebraska one of the best places for people who are deaf to live, that make them want to come back here and live. So homegrown and wanting to give back here to our community.
Awesome. Thank you, Cody. All right, we'll move on to Erin Rothenberger. Erin works out of the Kearney area, and on August 7th, he will be with the commission for 3 years. So tell us about yourself, Erin.
Well, I started off by going to college here in Kearney at the University of Kearney. I originally was going for an English major with some sort of emphasis on creative writing. I had no idea that I was going to be joining up into public service. After I had graduated, I took a position as an AmeriCorps Vista that ended up working for the state of Nebraska in Lincoln for the Area Agency on Aging. Essentially a agency that oversees all the different senior centers as well as funding that goes out in that area just for seniors related things. Through that, I found a chance to work out for the Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I ended up getting the position coming back to Kearney, which was sort of surreal, going from Kearney, leaving out to Lincoln, coming back. It's been really a fun way to find myself, find some what I wanted to do. I never expected to work in public service, yet I've really enjoyed it. I really enjoy helping people. I'm very glad it got to that opportunity. I've also had the opportunity through the agency to help write a children's coloring book, which was one of the highlights of what I've done thus far. It also cuts back to those original writing roots.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Erin. That's great. Moving on, we're going to go to our Lincoln area, and Kim Davis. Kim has been with Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. It will be 8 years on August 20th. So tell us a little bit about your journey to get here, Kim.
I also went to college, but the reason how I started with empowering and advocacy started in the community as a volunteer. I was very involved as a young person in volunteering. At the age of 19, I was very involved with the community, involved with independent living centers, involved with fundraising, all of that partnering with a hard of hearing group. The club, which hosted the people who were deaf, they partnered together and they raised $50,000 to establish captioning for a local TV news station in St. Joseph, Missouri, where I used to live. And being involved in that and recruiting and scheduling interpreters for large events like Trails West, a community event which attracts 45,000 people. How are people going to have access to communications? So I took that on and was involved in getting sponsorships, and so being involved in all of those community events, and then also working with deaf adults, empowering them and mentoring them, and being a job coach, as well as the youth, mentoring them and becoming tutors. And also with interpreters, I became their language mentors. So all of that created a unique skill set for me. So then I had an opportunity to work for the state on a contract basis as an interpreter evaluator. And the interpreters would then take a performance exam to become certified. So I was an evaluator. Then that led to becoming a trainer to those who were deaf to become evaluators. So then a job opened up at the Missouri Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I was hired there, worked there for 10 years. And then again, involved a lot more within the community and also different boards at local, state, and national levels. And all of that a lot voluntarily. So I still had that passion. Well, then I saw a job opening at the Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. I was born and raised right next to Omaha, across the river in Council Bluffs, Iowa. I grew up there from the age of 3 and then moved to Missouri at the age of 19. Lived in Missouri for 23 years, and I decided I wanted to get back and be close to my mother. And my heart belongs to the Council Bluffs area, and Lincoln is, I guess, close enough. So got back and been here for 8 years in Nebraska, and like I said, I still love what I do. I still have that passion, that caring, and I don't know any other skills I have. I don't think I could do anything else besides this job. I have no other skills other than this.
That's great, Kim.
Where I belong.
Thank you so much, Kim. You're great at what you do, and we really appreciate all the time that you've spent with the commission and your journey to get here. So a little bit about myself. I'm Kathy Scusa. I have been with the commission I just started my 6th year on April 13th. And my journey to get here has been unlike any of you guys. I grew up here in western Nebraska, just 30 miles down the road from my office in North Platte. I went to college south of Lincoln at Doane University, and my background there was with a degree in psychology, art, and biology. I have 3 majors, and none of those were leading me down the path toward public service like Erin. I have always been involved in customer service in one way or another, working my way through school as a waitress and a bartender, working at hotels, working as a 911 dispatcher and a state patrol dispatcher. So a lot of customer service kind of things where I've always enjoyed helping people. So I was actually working in the communication division at the Heart Hospital in Lincoln. And my good friend Cindy, who just happens to be our administrative assistant here at the commission, after I left the Heart Hospital, I moved out here to western Nebraska, and she says, Kathy, there's an opening. And I had just started a new job. And I said, Cindy, I just can't. I have to have some job loyalty where I'm at. And so I spent 3 years there. 3 years later, she says, Kathy, that job's open in North Platte again, and you're going to be perfect for it. You need to do this. And so I took her advice and I applied and, went through the whole process and got the job. And I honestly had never met one-on-one a deaf person before I started this job. Kim, you were the first person that I ever talked to who was deaf. And it's been a huge journey. I've loved every minute of it. And I just love being able to get out and help people with their communication needs. And it's been fabulous. So that's a little bit of my story. We could all go on and on, I know, but we do have a time limit. I do want to close by saying thank you to Sharon, our staff interpreter with Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. She does a fabulous job for us. I want to thank everyone out there who is watching our podcast. And stay tuned. We're going to have more episodes coming up in a moment in time with NCDHH. And we just want to let you get to know us a little bit better. Thank you all for watching.